At some point, he showed me an empty room. There was no desks, no computers. And he told me, this is here that you will create the security department of Ledger. If you want to build secure products, you need to try to break them. When I compare the kind of attacks we saw in the field and the kind of attacks we see today, they have evolved a lot.
And most people don't really understand this. Be like, okay, I just want a product that has no firmware updates.
Whenever I sign a transaction, I have strong guarantee that I claim an NFT or I'm giving away my wallet. As a user, I need to be able to distinguish these two things, which are very different.
What is it going to take for us to be able to achieve clear signing across the board?
I need to have a strong link between my intent and what will be executed on chain. You cannot trust what's written on your desktop, but maybe you have a malware on your computer that makes you think that you're about to swap while you are signing away your wallet. This is why our architecture doesn't compromise with security, because what is displayed on the screen comes directly from the secure element. You don't want to lose your identity. You don't want to lose your access to Instagram account. You don't want to lose your data. You don't want someone to pretend to be you. You don't want to lose your cryptocurrency, obviously. You can use your Flex to authenticate yourself to Binance. You can connect to LinkedIn with passkeys and use your Flex or Stacks to secure your account. Obviously, we have stuff to hide. Privacy is normal. It's a fundamental right. We'll again give away all your data to the services? Maybe not. The Guillemet protocol is a technology brick that allows you to decide with whom you share which data.
Hello and welcome back to the Ledger podcast. Today we have a very special guest with us. It's actually one of the people that I enjoy talking to the most, Ledger CTO Charles Guillemet. Today is also a special day. It's the second day of Ledger's opening of its new headquarters, 106 Temple. It's also Developers Day, and Charles will be having plenty of conversations around crypto security and the innovation that this space, this building, is going to enable him and his team to achieve in order to secure Ledger and the ecosystem. And that's exactly what we're going to be diving into. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation. Welcome to the Ledger studio.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm very, very good. Today is a dev day.
Yes.
We are opening the building, the 106, to the developers in our ecosystem. So I'm thrilled to welcome them.
Yeah, and how was yesterday? I hope you're not too tired.
Yesterday was really good. Plenty of visitors, partners, friends of Ledger joined us to visit the building, to see where Ledger is those days. And we also discussed, there was different panels, and the VIP party was also very good.
I didn't see you there. You left early.
Yes, I left early because the day was long, and today is another long day.
Yeah.
I wanted to be in a good shape.
Lucky you. I didn't take that wise choice. I left much later than you did, but it was worth it. Listen, there's so many different things I want to talk to you today. Let's maybe start with your story with Ledger. You've been part of the Ledger family, as you say, the company for a long time, and now is Ledger's 10-year anniversary. We just moved into a new building. Tell us a little bit about that evolution and what the 106 headquarters mean to you.
Yeah, sure. I met the Ledger team in mid 2017.
Yeah.
We were discussing and so on. At some point, I decided to join the company. And I first met them in person in Paris, because I don't live in Paris, so I came to visit them in Paris. And at this time, the company was located in a basement that was shared with another company called Anaxago.
Mm-hmm.
And I met the team, and that was really packed. Everything was crowded. People were running in every direction. That was a little bit weird, but I really liked the atmosphere. And then I decided to join, and I joined a couple of months after. Mm-hmm. And when I joined to Ridumile.
Yeah.
And that was the brand new office.
Yeah.
And the offices were pretty good. There was some Parisian charm, identity. Yes.
Yeah.
And
remember the ceiling, with the sun hitting inside.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. This is beautiful, but during the summer.
In the summer, it gets pretty hot.
Exactly. That's true. And then Nicolas, the CTO at this time,
Nicolas Bacca.
Nicolas Bacca, welcomed me, and his welcome was pretty quick.
How was it?
We discussed tech and so on, and at some point he showed me an empty room. And when I say empty, that was completely empty. There was no desks, no computers, no chairs, nothing. Like it was completely empty. And he told me, "Hey man, welcome. This is here that you will create the security department of Ledger. Good luck." And that's it. That was my welcome. To be honest, that was a little bit surprising for me.
No pressure.
No, that was not the pressure, but that was more the nothing. There's nothing. Everything needs to be built.
What year was that?
That was in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, end 2017. And so I was surprised at first because I was expecting at least chairs.
Yeah.
I mean, chairs and desk, but there was nothing. But on the other side, I thought that was a really good opportunity for me to build everything from scratch.
Yeah.
And having a blank page and being able to write your own story, this is not the kind of opportunity that you have so often. So I started from there, and I bought the computers, I bought the chairs, I bought the desk, the materials, the hardware, all of this. And when I say I bought, I did it. Like there was no department helping us.
So you went shopping.
Yeah, exactly. Online, obviously. Yeah. Also for recruiting, we didn't have a talent acquisition team and so on. I did the recruitment on myself. So everything was really like manual, and that was a little bit disturbing for me because I was coming from a very organized world in my previous career. But really amazing. Like I knew that I could have a lot of impact, and no one could prevent me to have this impact. That was really exciting, and this is when I created the dungeon from 2017.
Incredible.
And from there to 106, what a journey! I mean, I didn't have to buy anything here. I came, everything was ready, and the place is amazing. Yeah, this is what a journey.
Pretty amazing space. So tell us a little bit more about the dungeon. Like obviously it's Ledger's security lab. Tell us about what you guys do at the Ledger Dungeon. I know a lot of people might have heard, Ledger Dungeon, but maybe people don't necessarily understand what is it exactly that you do.
So I joined to create the security department, and I come from the security world for a long time. And there is something for sure is if you want to build secure products, you need to try to break them. I think this is the most efficient way to see it. You need to create secure by design. This is important. However, it's not sufficient. You also need to test if your design is as secure as you think. And to test them, you need to try to break them, to find vulnerabilities. And there are many ways to do that. You can analyze the code. You need to analyze the code. You need to go through automatic testing, automatic fuzzing, everything related to software vulnerabilities. You need to find about what is the threat model, what are the assets I want to secure. So there was this long process trying to formalize what kind of security problem you want to solve. And then as we are doing hardware, then you also have hardware threat. What happens if an attacker gets physical access to your device? What happens if there is a malware on your computer? And then you start thinking like this. So I'm the attacker. I can steal your device. How can I extract your keys? And then you have unlimited money, time, information, knowledge to try to break it. This is the way we think. And then we have different hardware machine with different attack methodology to try to break it. And as you are in a white box approach, that means that you have more information than a regular attacker. You can also modify a little bit the operating system so that the attack would be a little bit easier. Meaning, what we want to know is, what if we are removing this countermeasure and this one and this one? Is it still secure? Maybe not that much. So that means that we are relying a lot on this countermeasure. Maybe we need to think about the design a little bit different so that this countermeasure is not the only one that resists to this attack, this attack, this attack. So this is really the way they think at the dungeon. So this is really an adversary thinking. So on one side, you have the guy who are doing the design, trying to create secure product by design with cryptography, with secure element and in-depth security. So you have different layers of security to make sure that if ever this layer is not as secure as we thought, there is another layer that will prevent the attack. And then there is the dungeon who is verifying if the design is actually true. And you have the software threats, as I mentioned, what happens if you have a malware on your computer, on your mobile phone, and all of this. And you have also hardware threat. I have big machines. I have a big amount of money. Is it possible to extract the keys? How difficult is it? This is the kind of questions that they try to answer. And we are doing this for our devices, but we also are studying what is in the ecosystem, trying to raise the bar for security overall, because at the end, in blockchain and crypto, security is paramount, and we need to build the trust for users. So we need to always raise the bar for security. And when I compare the kind of attacks we saw in the field in 2017 and the kind of attacks we see today, they have evolved a lot. Attackers invest more money and create more sophisticated attack, and that won't stop. We need to continue raising the bar for security.
There's something you always say is that security is a journey. You say it much better than I do. Like, it's not a destination. It's like an ever-evolving journey.
Exactly.
And the more you actually build preventions and the more you mitigate certain vulnerabilities, or actually prevent vulnerabilities at all, the more attackers will become smarter and find new ways to break products. So there's actually no way to have a fully secure product without actually constantly updating the firmware. And most people don't really understand this. Be like, okay, I just want a product that has no firmware updates. How would you respond to like such claims?
Yeah, you explained it very well. There is no such thing as 100% secure, and it's designed and it's done secure forever. This thing doesn't exist. For various reasons, and the biggest reason is the fact that attackers spend more time, more money, and so on, and then they get more sophisticated and they are able to break stuff they couldn't break in the past. So you need to be able to make your device evolving so that it can counteract these new threats. And at some point also we need to create new devices in order to, because the previous generation at the hardware level is not secure enough. This is something that evolves. And when you think about secure elements, smart cards technology that are used for passports and banking cards, they go through security evaluation, obtain a security certification, and the security certification has a maximum time limit. So when you obtain your certification, it's valid for 12 months. Then you need to do like a revision of your evaluation every 12 months, and it's valid up to 5 years. After 5 years, the secure element itself loses its certification, because this is the trade-off that smart card manufacturers decided to take. They say, we think it's possible to be secure up to 5 years. After that, we need to renew the technology and so on.
Okay. You touched on two different things that I want to dive deeper into. First one is the form factor of the product, and the fact that, the previous form factor of ledger devices that is still relevant today was designed in a world where most people were doing very simple transactions or just hodling their Bitcoin or Ethereum. Today, we live in a world where most people are interacting with smart contracts on a daily basis, and the previous form factor was challenging with regards to just being able to have information displayed to you in a in a human readable form, but even without that, in a much bigger screen that, would enable you to actually receive that information in a much more seamless way. So that I would say is, one of the things that you mentioned with regards to how the hardware needs to evolve. Could you dive more into like the idea behind secure touchscreen products? Obviously, I'm talking about the two new products that we have launched in 2024, namely Ledger Stacks and Ledger Flex, and a little bit of the thought process behind it.
Yeah, sure. If we go back to what I was saying about attackers, in 2017, attackers were not so sophisticated. What they were doing was simply a phishing website. So they created a website where they asked users to input their 24 words. And then there was some social engineering around this, pretending to be Ledger, to be Uniswap. So there was always a story behind this, but at the end, like the attackers were asking users for their 24 words. This doesn't work anymore, not so much, for various reasons. The first one is now the industry, the ecosystem is far better at taking down this website. Whenever one of those websites pops up, it's taken down a few hours after, so it's difficult to make money as an attacker with this technique. This is the first reason, and the second reason is education. Now, most of users in the ecosystem have understood that there are plenty of scams, and this phishing techniques is known, and then so it doesn't work so much anymore. Yeah. That means that attackers need to up their game, and this is what they do. They become more sophisticated, and now we see more and more crypto drainers techniques, and the idea is to do social engineering with users and trying to trick them into signing a malicious transaction. So again, they are doing a phishing website, pretending to be Uniswap, for instance, or pretending to give you a good airdrop, like come to claim your NFT, and then you will get a big airdrop. And then as a user, you connect your wallet, you sign a transaction that you don't understand, and then you thought that you would be claiming your NFT or your airdrop, and finally you are signing a transaction that simply drains your wallet. And then it's finished. You lost your money, and there was nothing you can do to revert it because the blockchain is immutable. And as we can see, attackers became more sophisticated. And it's even more than this. Now So we started to see crypto drainer, I think, 1 year ago, something like this. And at the beginning, that was monolithic architecture for draining funds. And now, when you have a look at it, they have separated the people who are building the crypto drainer from the people who are using it.
Could you explain what a crypto drainer is? I think most of the people listening to us might not know.
So a crypto drainer is a malicious smart contract, malicious front end that tricks you into signing a malicious transaction. You sign this transaction, and then the smart contract will be executed. And the mission of the smart contract is to empty your wallet from all your assets. It's one transaction that empty all your wallets.
Okay, so that's an interesting point, because there was this common belief that if you segmented your assets within your wallet and you signed a malicious smart contract transaction with Ethereum account A, that your account B or C wouldn't be affected. And what you're saying right now is that with a crypto drainer, you could sign one transaction, and even if you hadn't signed that transaction with other accounts within your overall set of like Ethereum accounts, or your overall set of EVM accounts, one transaction could end up draining all of your wallet.
Thanks for asking this question, because it's not all your assets in a general manner. It's when you sign the transaction, it's about with one key. And then the drainer will be able to drain all your assets that correspond to this key.
To one key,
To one key. So if you have one Ethereum account with a specific address, all the assets on this specific account can be drained. So USDT,
so asset segmentation
Ethereum,
is still a good...
asset segmentation still works. it cannot access to your Bitcoin.
Okay.
It cannot access to your second Ethereum account.
Okay.
But if you have one Ethereum account and then another EVM account with the same key, this other EVM account could be affected depending on the attack.
Okay.
So this is the type of transaction that is executed by the smart contract.
Okay.
And what I was about to say is that now the activity of crypto draining is very professional. You have people who build the technology, the smart contract deployment, and all of this, and the people who are creating the fake website and trying to fish users into signing this malicious transaction. And the way they are, and then they need to create a revenue share at some point. And do you know how they do that? They do that at the smart contract level.
Okay.
So the crypto drainers, in the crypto drainers that developers in the smart contract, they put some rev share at the smart contract level, and all the funds that are drained from the user, 30% of them are sent to the crypto drainers developers, and 70% are sent to the attackers, the guys who are exploiting the vulnerability.
Crazy.
What I want to say is attackers are getting more and more professional, and they won't stop there. They will continue to get better at this.
I mean, there's a lot of money to be made.
Yeah, this is this is an opportunity cost computation. So they think about so how much does it cost to create these attacks, and how much money can I expect? And if there is a big delta between the two, it's this attack makes sense for us.
Yeah.
And you have a big criminal organization, and now you even have a nation state who are doing this, such as North Korea.
What's the name of the pretty famous attack group?
Lazarus.
And they've made like a few big bucks.
Yeah.
It's like a 200 or 300 million in one hack. That's
exactly
a pretty famous one.
As a user, the ultimate countermeasure mitigation against this kind of attack is that as a user, whenever I sign a transaction, I have strong guarantee that I actually claim a NFT, or I'm giving away my wallet. I need to be, as a user, I need to be able to distinguish these two things, which are very different. and this is what we are doing with our initiative that's called Clear Sign All the Things. And the idea behind this is really to make sure that the user understands the intent, what he wants to do. I want to claim an NFT. I don't want to give away my wallet. And what we want to provide is to the user is all the information so that he can make a decision, an enlightened decision. Yes, I want to claim this NFT. No, I don't want to give away my wallet. And to do so, we have created the framework and the standard, which is for the whole industry. It's not only for Ledger, because we want to protect our users, but we also want all the users in the industry to be protected. So we created a standard that enables wallets to understand the transaction, because transactions are not really standard. Smart contracts are Turing complete, so you can create as complex transactions as you can. So in order for a wallet to understand the transaction, it needs some context. And this is what we created, a standard that allows dApp developers and others to give all the information, allowing the wallet or the hardware wallet for Ledger to decode the transaction and give to the user the information, making him understand the transaction.
I want to take a quick pause here and do a couple of steps back, because for most people, they don't necessarily understand the challenges that come with clear signing. The initial kind of model was that Ledger Live provided you with clear signing. So any Ledger Live, for the people who don't know, is the companion app that comes with your Ledger. So the idea was that you were integrating different services in Ledger Live, buying, selling, staking, lending, accessing different apps. And the Ledger team, working with whomever they were integrating, were developing specific plugins for the wallet to be able to display the smart contract information in a human readable form.
Yeah, because this is a requirement that we do
as a security company.
As a security company, we want to integrate this partner.
Yeah.
You want to be integrated, then let's work together in order to make sure that the integration will be secure.
Because it doesn't make sense for you to have your private key secured if you end up signing a blank check.
Exactly.
the security, you call it the security at rest versus security at
use.
use. So security at rest is, your security when your device is not being used. It's, your private keys is in your secure element. No one can physically attack your product and and extract your keys.
Yep.
But then at use, if you end up using those keys to sign things you don't understand,
then you're signing blank checks, and maybe you are paying what you wanted to pay. Maybe you are giving away your wallet.
Exactly. And then there's the other challenge of how do you scale this?
Yep.
Because if you only have to do it in Ledger Live, well, Ledger becomes a bottleneck in some way. And then it's just a question of like how much time is it going to take you to integrate everything within Ledger Live? And do we actually want to do that? That's, probably questions that you had to ask yourself along with, the team working in the engineering and, other people working at Ledger as well. So what you were explaining right before was the solution to that problem, which is creating an open standard, which you've announced that, ECC this summer, we were together there and with, partners such as, Rabbi, Wallet Connect, and other people that have joined that coalition in order to make clear signing a thing. You call it clear sign all the things. Exactly. So let's get back to that now that we've kind of set up that context, and tell us how that journey is going and what it's going to take for clear signing to become a thing. What I find very, interesting is that we talk to people about like security and like adopting this new world of possibilities, but then there are still like very rudimentary user experience frictions that we need to solve, and clear signing is one of them. Like you can't self-custody securely without clear signing, without understanding what you're signing with your keys. So what is it going to take for us to be able to like achieve clear signing across the board?
So thank you very much for the context, and I think that was useful, definitely. As you said, in Ledger Live, when you integrate a partner, then we work together, create a plugin, create all of this in order to make sure that the user understands that he is about to stake, to send a transaction, to interact with some DeFi protocol. However, we started to do that because that was manual. We had a list of different partners. And I don't know if we didn't expect that there would be thousands of dApps in the future, or if we started by something. But now we are in a situation where we understand clearly that there is more and more dApps, more and more different interaction. And this is not scalable to do this manually for every single plugin, every single dApp. It doesn't scale because there are so many new apps, dApps, new L2, and all of this requires a specific treatment from us, from the partner. So it creates friction. And then we see that our users are happy with Ledger Live, but some more power users are using our device to interact with dApps that are not in the Ledger Live ecosystem. And then they are interacting with Aave, for instance, which is a very big lending protocol. And then they blind sign. And then that means that they thought they were secure with Ledger. However, whenever they want to interact with Aave, which is a big protocol, then they have to blind sign, and then it creates a big risk for their wallet. And also, I think it's not that clear for these users. It depends on the users, obviously, but it's not that clear that they are taking a big risk. So we have understood that there won't be less dApps in the future. There won't be less protocol in the future. So we end up with saying that we need something that is scalable, and we need to solve this problem for the ecosystem as a whole, not only for Ledger. We need to make sure that the work required by dApps, protocols, L2s, and so on is not too high, because if the bar is too high, they probably won't want to do it. And that's where the requirements, when we started to build on this clear sign, all the things initiative, and we ended up with this open standard. And for dApps, it's the work to be done is very minimal. They know how their smart contract works, and they just need to use our tool. We have a visualization tool, and they have to input what are the main function of my smart contract, what are the name of the parameters, and how the wallet should interpret them. So this parameter is the address of the ERC20 I want to swap from. This one is the address of the ERC20 I want to swap to. These are the fees. You have to multiply the fees by the magnitude. This is the kind of thing that the DApp needs to explain. We have a tool that automates this a little bit. And then the tool will create a metadata file. And this file will be trusted by Ledger or other wallets. So we will verify that this is not an attacker that is trying to fake the game. And then whenever you will sign with Aave, your wallet will receive the raw transaction to be signed and this metadata file explaining the wallet how to interpret this raw transaction.
Okay.
So we have on one side the dApps, and on the other side you have also the software wallet with which you interact. So you have Ledger Live on one side, but you also have Wabi and MetaMask and so on. And the same, we didn't want to create too much work for them in order to support ClearSign, all the things. And what we are designing is a device SDK. So that for them, it will be very easy to integrate Ledger devices into their software stack. And with the device integration also comes for free the ClearSign, all the things. So we even remove the hurdles of integrating Ledger Live in MetaMask, Wabi, and all the different wallets. And we also add the ClearSign, all the things feature in their wallets.
Okay. So that device SDK is actually about to be launched, towards the end of this year or beginning of next year.
Yeah, we launched the first version last week.
Yeah, with Wabi.
With Wabi, yes. They integrated this. For the ClearSign feature, it's not fully
launched.
Part of it is launched, but we don't support all the contract yet, but it's coming. So we are progressing well. We are really happy with that, partnering with Wabi in order to make sure that our assumptions are correct, meaning it's not too painful for them and so on. So we have this close partnership with them, but the idea afterwards is really to scale and to provide this to every single wallet. And I often meet people. Like last week, I was at Permissionless conference, and I met with Legend, which is a new application. Yeah. And they integrated Ledger devices on their application on Bluetooth, and for now there was no SDK. I was like, how did you do that? And he told me, we have to reverse the library and so on. Oh, that was a lot of work for you. And so that means that wallets want Ledger to be integrated. So if we are able to remove the hurdles of doing this, plus providing them clear signing for free, everyone will be happy.
Yeah. And I mean, this is all about like collaboration and developers working together in order to make sure that the ecosystem is secure. And on our end, with the Ledger end, like you obviously have the hardware piece, but then you can do whatever you want to do in Ledger Live. People use their ledgers with everything out there. Yep. And not only within the EVM ecosystem, but also like across all ecosystems. So good luck. I think you're going to have a lot of work to do with everyone out there. But I think it's also like a journey of like education. I think, when we started talking about clear signing, no one really understood what it was all about. And we had to educate people about what blind signing is, the risks of blind signing, why we need clear signing, and educating the users and the partners as well at the same time.
And I think we did a pretty good job at explaining why it's important and why it's really necessary to fight against those attacks. And now I feel it's clear for everyone in the ecosystem, and we have really more support from the ecosystem of developers to build this together.
So let's get back to the hardware, because we did a segue into the first element, which was the screen and why we need a wider screen and how clear signing is now connected to, the secure touchscreen category of devices for people to be able to like hold their stacks or their flex in their hands and understand what they're signing. The other, kind of feature of this device is that it's the world's first secure touchscreen for e-ink curved touchscreen, if I want to be very specific, for stacks. And then Flex was built on the same, technological platform that was developed for stacks. So that is one piece. And then the other piece that we should probably like kind of dive into as well is one of the reasons why we actually like develop these products is also for the firmware capabilities and the memory capabilities for it to be able to integrate with some of the new technologies that we're developing on the side, such as clear signing, because a device like the Nano S probably has a little bit of limitations when it comes to integrating some of these new initiatives. So let's maybe dive into that first piece first, what is like, why a device like the Nano S, for instance, isn't able to integrate some of these technologies, and now how, Stacks and Flex as two new, secure touchscreen category, devices that are part of this secure touchscreen category will enable people to do a lot of different things.
Yeah, sure. The Nano S was designed 8-9 years ago. So now it's a pretty old device using old technology, especially the secure element itself. The secure element itself has probably lost its certification. I was mentioning 5 years for certification. So no, I think it lost its security certification because of the lifetime of certification.
What does that mean? Because we don't want to scare people off either. Like, even if it loses certification, it doesn't mean that the device is insecure, right?
No, it doesn't mean this. Certification are kind of standard framework for assessing security and so on, and it's required, mandatory when you want to address the banking or the identity market. So that means that today this secure element cannot be used for banking application or identity application because it lost its certification.
But it's not like a milk's expiry date that if you drink it and you're after 2 weeks in your fridge, you're gonna die.
No, this is not something like this, but this is, and you can lose your certification because the lifetime of the certificate expires, or because a huge vulnerability has been found, and so on. And in the case of the secure element used by the Nano S, it's just the lifetime of the certification that is finished. To my knowledge, there is no known critical attacks on this secure element. However, on top of the certification, there is also the fact that the technology used to create the secure element is quite old now, and there are plenty of limitation in terms of flash. The flash is very small. I think it's 300K. For people, it's the size of a very small image. This is what you can store in the flash. For the RAM itself, it's only 15K. So if you are a developer, think of having 15 kilobytes of memory. That means that you cannot fit a lot of things in the stack. So that means that you cannot call a lot of function. I won't go into the details, but just to say that the technology of this secure element is very old and very limited. So when you want to build complex. When you want to build like application, it's very difficult, and even more, even sometimes not possible at all. So this is one of the limitations you have on the Nano S. So that's why we created the S Plus, which in terms of secure element capability, it's easier. So you have more flash, more RAM, the CPU is faster, and so on, more security also. But you still have limitation in terms of screen. So that's why we then created Flex and Stacks. I don't talk about the Nano X, but the Nano X is a variation of those with the Bluetooth. And then that's why we created Flex and Stacks. And the idea is to have a wider screen. Because as I mentioned, the threats that we had in 2017 are not the same that the threats that we have today. Now we really need to understand what kind of transaction you are about to do. I'm about to swap on Uniswap. I'm about to lend some staked ETH on Aave. I need to understand that this is the my intent. I need to have a strong link between my intent and what will be executed on chain. And creating this link is not that easy because you need some understanding of what's going on in the smart contract, and you need to create the transaction itself. You need to send this transaction to the device, and the device must be able to decode the transaction. So from your intent and what will be executed, there are different steps, and creating this link with like security guarantee is not easy. But when you are able to create this link, you need to display it to the user. And that's when you need just a wider screen to explain you are about to swap 0.1 STETH to RB or whatever token.
So it's everything we discussed related to like clear signing
exactly.
and the visibility.
So creating the clear signing framework is important, but being able to display it in a user-friendly manner is even more important. Otherwise, you don't solve any problem.
But the element that here is quite important is the fact that it's a secure touchscreen. So what does that mean? How do you like kind of make the screen itself secure?
So first of all, it's apart from your desktop and your mobile.
Internet connected device.
It's not a connected device, and because you cannot trust what's written on your desktop. If you think, oh, Wabi or MetaMask just told me that it's a swap and everything is okay, but maybe you have a malware on your computer that makes you think that you're about to swap while you are signing away your wallet. So this is why you also need to get this information on your device. And this is why we have a dedicated screen on the device. And this screen is directly connected to the secure element. That means that in a context where the attacker would be able to get an access to your device and try to put a malware on MCU, because there are different architecture when it comes to hardware wallet. Sometimes you need to have a regular MCU plus a secure element. Sometimes there is just a MCU. And a MCU is just a general purpose microcontroller unit that is in charge of executing code and operating system. This is what you have like on Trezor devices, for instance. But there's MCU are general purpose. And they are easy to use, easy to develop on them. There are not big limitation in terms of memory and so on. However, they are not made for security. They are made for general purpose use. So this is you can find this kind of MCU in your toaster. In your toaster, if there is some electronic, there is this kind of in your remote control. Like in everything where there is some electronics that is a chip.
Not like security chips, they're just chips.
They're chips, general purpose chips. You can do plenty of things with those chips, but they are not made for security. And that means that it's difficult to have guarantees on the code that is running inside those chips, and they are connecting to the screen. And so that means that you have less security guarantees that the screen that you see is actually secure and that you can trust.
Okay.
So this is why our architecture doesn't compromise with security, because the touchscreen is directly connected to the secure element, and what is displayed on the screen comes directly from the secure element.
And that's a technical challenge, and that's why, because it's a chip that's probably not designed to power a screen, right? Like it's designed for other things.
Exactly.
And maybe that's the reason why also e-ink was kind of chosen as a screen
that's why
model.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons. Yeah, because you can drive a e-ink screen with a secure element. You couldn't drive like a smartphone screen, like this type of screen with a secure element. It wouldn't be possible. So that's one reason. Also, in terms of battery power consumption, e-ink screen are really better on this. Also, you have the fact that the device is the screen is still on when the device is off, because the e-ink technology is bistable. It
doesn't need power all the time in order to.
You don't need power to maintain an image.
It's a flash of power that holds the ink in the screen, like in some way. Like
you need
power bursts
to switch one pixel from black to white or white to black. But when it's switched, It's
Done.
you don't need power to maintain this image.
It's very interesting. And then another very distinctive thing about these devices is that they've also incorporated another type of technology, which is the NFC technology. And there's the app that comes with it. So it's a ledger security key.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, for a lot of people, they don't necessarily see where that might be going. For them, it's, Ledger is a crypto security company. It's designed to protect your private keys and therefore your digital assets. But the world is becoming more and more digitized, and the use cases of cryptography are today probably more relevant than ever, especially in a world where, you have deepfakes, you don't necessarily know who you're interacting with online. You're probably going to have more and more cyber crimes. Ian says it all the time. If you say that this year is going to be the worst year for cybercrime, every single year from today till, I don't know how many years in the future, you're probably going to be right. So
again, opportunity cost for attackers. More stakes, more attacks.
Totally. So talk to us about that whole, piece of the new, Ledger security model.
Yeah, sure. As you said, everything in our life is more digital, and we can't deny it. We spend more and more time on our screen. The things that are important for us as humans are more and more online, and these things becomes important for us as humans. You don't want to lose your identity. You don't want to lose your access to your Instagram account. You don't want to lose your data. You don't want someone to pretend to be you. You don't want to lose your cryptocurrency, obviously. Mm-hmm. For crypto, it's obvious because we have a direct relationship between the value of the cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is worth 70K. So yeah. But for your identity, for your access to Instagram, it's not that clear. But when you think about it, I don't know if you use Instagram. I'm not a user, but there are plenty of websites I wouldn't like to lose access to. But when you think about it, we don't want to lose this access. These things are more and more important in our life, and we want to secure them. It's just obvious. And the industry, the internet industry, starts to understand this, and this is what we see with the rise of 2FA, two-factor authentication. This is what we see with the standardization of FIDO2 and passkeys. So the industry starts to understand this.
Because your digital identity, arguably for some people, to your point, people that live off of, Instagram or even your LinkedIn profile, might be more valuable than your actual physical identity, because the number of people you can actually interact with in a digital world is so much bigger than the number of people that you interact with in a physical world. And therefore, your digital existence is arguably more valuable from a monetary standpoint. So hacking your digital identity, having your identity being hacked online, could be very costly.
Yeah, definitely. The attackers can make money on this. There is no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But for you, take a step back and think about it. Like, this is really important. You don't want your identity to be stolen. You don't want someone pretending to be you.
Yeah, because what they can do is you have 100,000 followers. They can hack your Twitter account, and then we get back to blind signing. They can throw an airdrop, get people to blind sign a transaction, and then hack people off of their money, and then your identity is being associated to a crime.
Exactly.
Or in other cases, DM people. There are a variety of different things people can do once they access your digital identity.
Exactly. So this is about identity. This is about your access to different services. This is about your crypto, obviously. And all of this, it becomes more and more important for us as humans, and securing them it becomes paramount. Okay. And that's why our technology is solving this problem. And Ledger is known for crypto. You said crypto security company. I know. I think we are a security company at the end.
Cyber security company.
Yeah, cyber. Yeah, we are a security company. Our devices are made for securing secrets. And with the secrets, you can secure your crypto, but you can secure your access to Instagram. You can secure your identity. You can secure your data. This is what can be done with the device. The obvious use case is crypto because with crypto, again, there is a direct link between the value of the crypto and the value it has for you, because this is money. This is what it is. But when it comes to your identity, you're like, oh, think about it. Take a step back. No, this is as important and probably more important than as your real life identity.
It's your digital life. It's about securing every component of it. So whether it be your value, and arguably your value is also your identity. So I think the form factor of the device and what it's now enabling in terms of use cases is kind of probably a couple of steps ahead in order to make sure that the people that will need this technology actually have it today available to them before it becomes like an urgent necessity, or like people are getting hacked on a day. And people are actually getting hacked on a daily basis already. Some people use YubiKeys or applications such as the Google Authenticator. But as that gets more and more developed, when I'm talking more about like these attacks on digital identities, the need for hardware, secure hardware, will become more and more paramount.
Yeah, and it becomes standard. We see more and more, but YubiKey becomes more popular, the rise of 2FA, the use of passkeys. And this is one of the applications that we are implementing on our devices, on Stacks, Flex, but also on other devices. You can use your Flex to authenticate yourself to Binance. They integrated passkeys recently, but also to LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, you can connect to LinkedIn with passkeys and use your Flex or Stacks to secure your account. This is something that is possible just because the device is versatile. Our operating system is an operating system. It's not a monolithic piece of code. We can build application on top of this operating system. This application can secure your Bitcoin, but also your identity.
Great. There are two other topics I want to get into. I hope you're not bored. Huh? You're with us at the Ledger Studio, so we're going to make the best out of your time with us today. First one, you were at Permissionless a few weeks ago. You announced Ledger Sync, and Ledger Sync is being built on top of the Ledger Keyring protocol.
That's true.
There are probably a lot of words that people know nothing about because it's very novel. So let's start with the Keyring protocol. Tell us about it and why that idea came to fruition. It's probably connected to the fact that Ledger is now a security company more than a crypto security company, and this is about
always been.
And this is about data protection. So talk to us about the foundational technology there and how different use cases such as Ledger Sync or other use cases might come out of it in the future.
Yes, I was talking about securing your access to your Instagram account, your crypto. But and also your data. But securing your data, what does it mean? It's not that easy to understand. So let's take a step back, and let's talk about the different properties you have in cryptography. So sorry about this mathematics course. I will be fast. In cryptography, you have 4 different properties.
Okay.
One is authentication. Second is integrity. Third is non-repudiation. The last one is confidentiality. Authentication means that you are proving that you are the one you pretend to be. So identity, connecting to Instagram, sending Bitcoin. What you do is that you are proving that you own Bitcoin. You are proving that you are the one owning your Instagram account. So this is authentication. And blockchain are very good at doing authentication in a decentralized manner, which is very new for blockchain, while Instagram is doing this in a centralized manner. But in both cases, this is authentication, and again, blockchain are very good at this. Integrity is the fact that you can trust the data. It has not been altered in the past. Everything is has integrity. And blockchain are immutable. You cannot change what is on the blockchain because we are using good cryptography to do that. The blocks are chained with hash, and you cannot change anything in the past. Integrity is fundamental properties for blockchain, and you even have integrity in the code execution. When code is executed on Ethereum, you know that this is the code that has been executed is the one that you can see on chain. Also, this is an important property. The third one is non-repudiation. That means that you cannot pretend you didn't do something in the past because it's written on the blockchain. You have cryptographically signed something, and this something is timestamped in the blockchain. So you committed to signing a Bitcoin transaction to anything that is written on the blockchain, and this is what we call non-repudiation. And the fourth one is confidentiality. That means that you have secrets that you want to hide, you have data that you don't want to share with everyone. And this part is not is not really achieved by blockchain, but not really by the internet. The internet is built on the idea that all the services are free. And then we have like the services that are free, Google, Twitter, Facebook. They need to pay the bill. So how do they do that? They collect your data and they are making money on your data.
So if you're not paying for the product,
if it's free, you are the product. This is what we say. So this is a big deal, and the whole internet is based on this idea. And I think this is not a normal state. We need to wake up. This is not normal. You have stuff to hide. Privacy is important. You need to choose what kind of data you share with whom. All these things are important. And sometimes I hear, I have nothing to hide. Privacy is not that important, and so on. You have things to hide. If you think differently, think of all your emails, for instance, all your emails. You don't especially want me to see them. If you think differently, just send me all your passwords to mypasswords@ledger.fr. I created this email address 4 years ago. I still never received a single email. Obviously, we have stuff to hide. Privacy is normal. It's a fundamental right. And we need to create tools to ensure privacy. And blockchain are not good at privacy at all. Everything is on-chain. Everything can be seen transparently. All the transactions on Bitcoin from the genesis of Bitcoin can be seen. And there are a few blockchains such as Zcash or Monero that implements some kind of confidentiality, which is great. But when you think about the user, on the user side, there is no real confidentiality tools for users to secure his data and for him to choose with whom he shares his data. So this is the current state. And as we are building a new era of the internet, for authentication, it's kind of solved, but for the data, we need a technology brick to fulfill confidentiality. When you think about a Web2 service, you will log in with your login and password, and then you will give away all your data to the website. And when you think Web3, when you think about the future, the login is replaced by your Ethereum address and maybe a signature, or simply using security key with passkeys. So it's sovereign, maybe decentralized if you are using a blockchain. And what about the data? You will again give away all your data to the services? Maybe not. So this is what the problem we solve with the keyring protocol. The keyring protocol is a technology brick that allows you as a user to decide with whom you share which data. It's as simple as this. The way it works is quite simple. See this as a keyring, a physical keyring. On this keyring, you have plenty of keys that allows to open different safes, physical safes, let's say. And you are able to duplicate these keys. So I want you to access to this specific safe. I give you the key accessing to the safe. I can also revoke your access to the safe. I can change the lock. This is something I can do. I also have the notion of a master key. So I have a master key that allows you to open all the safes that are in this room, but not the safes that are in this other room. So this is what a ledger keyring protocol is in the physical world, but we implemented it in the digital world. So we are using the device. The device is usually used for authentication, but now we are adding this confidentiality part. And you will generate plenty of encryption key from your 24 words. We don't want users to have the burden of managing additional keys. So all the keys are deterministically generated from your 20 favorites. And then these keys will be used to encrypt all your data individually. It's a very granular way of...
So what kind of data are we talking about? Because for people, like, they don't understand how the data would reach the Ledger device. You know, Ledger Sync is actually one use case of it, and you can go into it. But what kind of doors does it open in the future? Is there a way for you to be able to monetize some of your data and maybe get paid before you give away, your demographics, for instance, or, give us a little bit of perspectives into the use cases?
So first of all, the data doesn't go into the device.
Okay.
The device is a keyring, and you generate the key, and when you duplicate a key, you take the key out of the ring, and then you are using it on your computer to encrypt the data that is on your computer. And when you give access to someone else, you are sending the key in a secure manner to someone else. So let's think of a very simple service. Think of Google Photos. When you use Google Photos, what you do is sending all your photos to Google. And then when you want to share a photo, you ask Google to give access to your photos to someone else. So you are giving away your data, and then you are hoping that Google will be collaborative with you to give access to your friends. If you want to build the same type of experience in a sovereign manner, what you will do is use a Ledger Keyring protocol to encrypt all your photos one by one. Then you can send this photo on any servers. It doesn't really matter because everything is encrypted. You can even put them on Google Drive. It's not important. Google won't be able to access to your data. And then you want to give access to me to this specific photo. You just have to share the key with me. It will be integrated in a nice user experience with a share button and then giving my Ethereum address, for instance. And then I will be able to access to these photos because I can decrypt it. And with the notion of group keys, you can do the same with a folder of photos and this kind of thing.
And this is still based on the same technology that's used to actually secure private keys and encrypt and decrypt. It's done with the hardware piece, right?
The hardware usually is used for authentication, so signing message inside the device. Here, this is a different feature.
Okay.
And the keys are not signing keys, but encryption keys.
Okay.
So they are a little bit different. And we are taking them away of the keyring. So that means we take this key out of the device.
Yes.
So that you can encrypt the data that is on your computer or decrypt it when it's the recipient.
Okay.
So this is the kind of application that can be built. If you think about Telegram, for instance, Telegram is a messaging app that is widely used in crypto, but all your messages are stored on Telegram servers. Every single message that has been sent from the beginning of Telegram are stored in the Telegram server. So at least Telegram has an access to them. And maybe some government could have an access to them because they are helping them or because they have been hacked. If you are a government, attacking this specific database could be really interesting. So what you would like to do when you build something such as Telegram is to do end-to-end encryption. You want to discuss with your friends so that Telegram in the middle cannot read your message, or the government having an access to Telegram servers cannot read your message. With Keyring protocol, you can do that. You generate an encryption key with your device, and then you send it to your friend. And then from these two encryption key, you can do end-to-end encryption.
Okay.
So this is the type of application that can be built with it. And the one we built is very simple. When you use Ledger Live, you will use Ledger Live on your mobile. So you will create the list of crypto account that you want to use. You will do a different transaction. You will define your settings and so on. And you do that on your mobile phone. And this data is stored on your mobile phone. It's not sent to Ledger because we don't want to have an access to this data, and probably you don't want to share this data with Ledger, and this is completely normal. And then when you are doing the same with your desktop, you have to recreate everything from scratch because these two things do not communicate together. And usually in the Web 2, what you do is to create a login and password, connect to Ledger server, send all your data to server, and then when you connect with your desktop, you would have to log into Ledger server to collect your data.
So your identity is basically this, using access to centralized server through your identity in order to make sure that you have access to this data on whichever device that you're using.
That is supposed to be yours. So this is the usual pattern that you have on every single service, but we want to create the future. We want users to be self-sovereign over their value, but also over their data. And what we are doing is using keyring protocol to do so. So you create your list of accounts, to create a lot of transactions, define your settings. All this data is stored on your local memory for your mobile phone. And whenever you want to have an instance of Ledger Live on your desktop, what you will do is use a keyring protocol at the core layer, or Ledger Sync. And Ledger Sync is an application running on your device. And on the device, you will be prompted, do you want to share your live data with this other device, with this other
from mobile
desktop?
to desktop, or desktop to mobile, or from one desktop to another?
Also.
Yeah.
And doing so is just giving an encryption key to the other instance. Everything is sent securely and all of this. And at this point, all the devices with which you shared this key, you put them in Ledger Sync, can be synchronized because they are sharing the same encryption key and they can access to this encrypted data. So whenever you change the name of your Bitcoin account and you name now Bitcoin account flex number 3, you change the name of this account on your mobile, it will be changed on every single other instances of Ledger Live. It's a very simple feature that you are used to have on different services, but the big difference is that Ledger can get access to your data. It's
encrypted.
Everything is encrypted, and you are self-sovereign over your data.
And it's a real user experience friction that everyone that uses a Ledger probably had, is the fact that you had to, kind of detect and name probably your different accounts every single time you were connecting your Ledger device to a new, internet connected device to run Ledger Live on. So whether it be your mobile phone or your desktop. And there was this whole thing of, okay, which account is it? If you had, Charles Ethereum A, B, C on one device, you didn't necessarily have it on the other device, and you had to run the process again in order to be able to find these accounts and rename them.
And I totally agree. That was a big friction. And from this, we are like, what do? Do we collect the data of all the users so that they can synchronize their two accounts, their two instances of Ledger Live, or we don't implement this feature? And until now, we decided not to implement the feature, and then this is why we have this friction. And then at some point, we were like, no, we really want this feature, but we want this feature to be self-sovereign so that Ledger doesn't access your data. And this is how the idea came to create Ledger Keyring Protocol and implement Ledger Sync.
That's amazing. It's honestly, like, I read a lot about it. I dove into it, but you gave me a few insights that I didn't necessarily have. Specifically, the analogy actually of the keyring protocol is like taking a key out of the ring and then using it in order to encrypt files, through internet connected channels, but to make sure that these files remain secure and remain yours in some way or another. Charles, I know you have a very busy day today. It's Developers Day. Maybe the last question before I let you go is, what kind of advice would you give to developers that would be listening to us today here on the podcast, but not in the building, and not part of the different conversations that you're going to be having today? So how do you scale those conversations? Give one advice to developers that are building in the space.
Yeah, sure. First of all, I'd like to thank all the developers that built on top of Ledger, around Ledger, integrating Ledger on their experience. And because I think they are part of the, we are where we are. We are here today in the 106. Also because we have this vibrant developer community. And I think as developers, we need to we need to keep this ideal of self-sovereignty, of decentralization, of making the user sovereign over his data, over his value, and all of these things are really important when we build new experiences and so on. User experience is also something we need to tackle, and I think we are at a pivoting point where we are improving the user experience. We are solving these hurdles. So yeah, my main message for developers would really be to be compliant with the initial ideal of the ecosystem, which is freedom, self-sovereignty over your crypto, your value, your data.
Couldn't have said it any better. Charles, thank you so much for the insights. I really enjoyed this, and enjoy the rest of your day. I think, I will try as much as I can to join the conversations upstairs, but I think, most of the conversations are going to be super insightful, and we're going to make sure to, add the different panels that will be happening today in the show footnotes so that the people that are listening to us can also have access to that content. And again, thank you for your time.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening and watching to our Ledger podcast in our newly launched format. We hope you enjoyed it. Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube and follow the show wherever you're listening to it. We'd really appreciate it because it'll help us help you make the best out of our content.